Hey, look, I'm wearing long-sleeved winter pajamas right now. Hey guys, what's up? And today I'm gonna do another review on a 2017 album. And this time I'm gonna do a review on Fleet Foxes' Crack Up. So Fleet Foxes is an indie folk band formed in, ya boy, Washington, Seattle. And it has frontman Robin Pecknold. And it also had drummer Josh Tillman, but Josh Tillman later left the band and became Father John Misty, who released Pure Comedy this year. Well, anyway, this time I'm going to focus on Fleet Foxes. I'm going to leave comedy, pure comedy, for another review. So I have high hopes and expectations for this album from Fleet Foxes because last time they released Helplessness Blues in 2011, and Helplessness Blues is one of my favorite albums in the 2010s, and it is also the album that got me into folk music, and it is also my favorite album in the year 2011. And now Josh Tillman left the band. I am really interested on what direction will they go to and how will they make their music. And so we have Crack Up. So, basically, Crack Up is this more, cohesive and grand and more experimental album, which doesn't sound like their previous two albums, their debut album and Helplessness Blues. Their previous two albums sounds really medieval and focused and driving, while this is more here and there, everywhere. And they also experiment a lot on this album, and they even incorporate a lot of different instruments from woodwind to electric guitars. They even sampled some music and some sounds over their songs, and it's really interesting how they incorporated electronic music, like elements of electronic music on their indie folk music. And so the album starts off on I Am All That I Need slash a Arroyo Seco slash Thumbprint Scar.
So it's true, I've gone too far to find you.
That's a really long name for a song. And yeah, this is a really shocking and surprising album opener for me because it has this really quiet, whispery beginning, and suddenly the song explodes at your face, and with this really rushed guitar kind of harmony, and it is really loud, and then suddenly the song just tunes down its volume and then becomes this quiet and whispery interlude passage again, and then it suddenly explodes in your face and becomes this fast-paced, loud indie folk rock thing again, which makes this song incredibly dynamic, up and down. It's like a roller coaster.
Only do this repeats. You've got all you need on me.
And I also really love the little sweet section towards the end that changes its key. Yeah, it's really hard to describe this song to you guys, but this insane song is a little bit awkward as an album opener, but nonetheless it's incredibly intriguing and interesting, and I love how Fleet Foxes is experimenting with songwriting and the song structure itself. It's really random and unpredictable, and the chords, the sounds in the song is actually decent and lovely. And then we have Cassius and Naiad's Cassidy's, which is a two-parted song. And at first we have Cassius, which is this really lovely, gorgeous, and pulpy song with this looped, sampled electronic section in the beginning, with this lashing water sample as well. And then Robin Pecknold continues to, sing. And then towards the end of Cassius, we have this woodwind passage that leads really smoothly and naturally into track 3, which is basically the second part of Cassius, Naiads, Cassidy's. And again, it's really sweet, it's really pulp. The harmony in the vocals you can hear very clearly, and both songs are pretty decent. Now, I understand some people may not like this new style of Fleet Foxes, but to me, it's really nice. And then we have Kept Woman, which is a more wintry and cold and gloomy song. And I also really love the really creepy and ominous and religious sounds on Kept Woman. I really love the ominous and weird challenging chords for the hook. I also kind of enjoy If You Need to Keep Time on Me, which is this really sweet and simple ballad where it gets really quiet with the guitars, which is also really sweet, lovely, and gorgeous. And then towards the end of the song just melts into this fluttering wall of pianos, and it's just really sweet and lovely. But yes, it is a really good song in my opinion, but I think that the band could experiment and explore a little bit more on this song, while they really experiment and explore a lot on other songs. And then we have Ixtapa. At first I didn't like that song that much. It feels really generic and it tries to be jazzy, but it isn't really. But it really grows on me. I really love the really soothing and mystifying chords and sounds on Ixtapa, and I really like the electric guitars hiding in the background somewhere in the song. And I really like and enjoy the ending of the song, which is really entertaining to see all these instruments go together and perform together and sing together in a great grand harmony. And yeah, Ixtapa, amazing. And on Another Ocean, parenthesis January/June, parenthesis, we see a more dynamic and experimental side of Fleet Foxes again. At first, this January section is very cold and wintry like Kept Woman. It's also really slow and underwhelming a little bit. But then it hits the June part, the second half of the song, where the song just explodes in your face like the title track, with this really summery and relaxing and exotic guitar part. And I also really love the swagger infused folk rock sounds on it. Like, it's more like folk rock than just folk for the second half of the song, because it's just And CrackUp is the ending of the album, which isn't the most memorable ending of an album. I really like Oliver James, and I really love A Grown Ocean. This is the 2 album enders for their last 2 albums. But this one is CrackUp, which tries to be this grand and huge finale for the album. It tries to be revelating, and yes, it kinda is, but it's also not as focused and as amazing as the other album enders. And yeah, the song slowly builds up to this great marching song with this crescendo, and then it ends off with some ambient horns. And I really don't care for I Should See Memphis. Josh Tillman tweeted that this is a gorgeous song, and yeah, it's pretty gorgeous, but this song is exactly what I don't want the new Fleet Foxes to be, which is very soft, really quiet, and really drained. And I really like the unsettling mood behind this song, and yeah, it's just not as impressive as other songs on the album. And then I'm gonna talk about the 2 big singles on this album. First, A Fool's Errand. yeah, it's a really beautiful song. At first, it sounds like the kind of music used in ads because of how festive and easy and accessible it is. But this song is also really good because of how grand and expressive and dreamy the song is. I also really like the dynamics of the song, and the song Fool's Errand really grows on me. But my favorite song on the entire album is 3rd of May slash Odaigahara. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Light ended the night, song remained, and I was hiding by the stair, half here, half there, past the lashing rain.
And this is basically the 8-minute track about the friendship between Robin Pecknold and another person. I forgot his name. But yeah, this is a really beautiful, dreamy, and powerful almost orchestral movement, indie folk infused orchestral movement by Fleet Foxes. And it has this Godspeed You Black Emperor influence on it that I really enjoy. Like, there's 2 parts to that song, and first part is 3rd of May, which is really direct, straightforward, and also really lovely, pulpy, yes. And but the second half is even better with these apocalyptic, dystopian, and hammering guitars, just da-na-na-na-na-na. And it just feels like this song itself is about to tear up and cry because of how powerful it is. And the vocals on this thing, it just goes really powerful and explosive and stargazing. The song is just so potent and solid all of a sudden. And it really brings a lot of emotions to me. Like, I didn't tear up, but it's such a ride of emotions that it's really memorable. And 3rd of May slash Odaigahara might as well be one of my favorite songs of 2017 so far. So overall, this new Fleet Foxes album is not as medieval tinged as their debut album Fleet Foxes and Helplessness Blues, but it is also very grand and modern, I feel like. Yes, it still has its medieval roots, but it feels more like going to faraway places than close places but medieval times, if you understand what I'm saying. And this album is a really good album, and it is a really dense listen experience, because not all people will enjoy this album, but after more and more listens, it really grows on you, and it becomes this great album. And yeah, it's really hard to familiarize yourself to the music on this album, and Fleet Foxes' new style is really satisfying and gorgeous, although it's really hard to grasp. And a load of songs and moments on this album could have been more sturdy, could have been more clear, and could have been more focused and honest. But nonetheless, it sounds great. And the lyrics deals mostly with friendship, loneliness, and a bunch of social political statements that isn't necessarily that great for Fleet Foxes, given how philosophical Helplessness Blues is. But again, the lyrics doesn't play too big of a role on this album. Yeah, this album is really inspiring and potent, and I really like how they experiment to this flavor, texture, and they experiment in a very colorful way. And I also really like how cohesive and deep and connected the songs on this album is. And yes, there's not much I can say about this album other than it's freaking great, lovely, gorgeous, and it also feels really natural and refreshing. The worst song is I Should See Memphis, and the best is 3rd of May / Odagahera. I'm giving Fleet Foxes Crack Up a 9 to an 8, a really strong 8 out of 10. So, have you listened to Fleet Foxes Crack Up? From 1 to 10, how much would you rate it? Like if you like, and subscribe if you want more. Almost forgot the last line.